saw and print, and did a phenomenal job with placements and negotiating fees and just great partners. Baclita, really commonly known locally for their ad campaigns with Jonestown Bank, which they do a great job. And the Baclitas handled social media, and we also identified special groups, and such as fire EMS, retirement homes and villages, and then by those special groups, we would reach out to them as opposed to them having to go through the normal process of coming to us. Poultry handled a number of projects. They handled the direct mail piece. They also reached out to retirement homes, as well as radio, schools, daycare, and churches. Again, large groups that are identified in the process. Simone Associates, just a phenomenal company for broadcast. They did the TV spot that you saw. They did 2 30 seconds and 2 15-second spots that we placed on broadcast. Premier is a marketing company located in Palmyra, and they assisted with an e-blast campaign. Neon Pine was kind of a diamond in the rough, a great company that did the animation video. And this was targeted specifically for children. They did 2 spots for us, one at 8 seconds and one at 15 seconds. Jack Cantwell at Sky Limit Marketing helped us with copy and went ahead and helped us with rack cards that we're distributing throughout the county. Karen at the Chamber of Commerce not only did a phenomenal job on the block grant side, but also assisted us with making sure that information was relayed to all the different cities and organizations on the business side. Downtown Lebanon did sidewalk stickers. Visit Lebanon Valley did videos that we used on the digital side. The CLA executed banners. And last but not least is Nikki Maurer at the Community Health Council. And what Nikki did was be able to rationalize and review all of the copy that went into everything throughout this campaign. I certainly can't thank Nikki enough because she was a phenomenal partner in this group. So the first thing you do after you start a campaign is a brand style guide. So this is a couple of pages out of a 40-page printed piece, which also appeared on the website. 20 pages in English, 20 pages in Spanish. Basically outlines how you can use the brand. The challenge with co-branding, the co-branding being everybody that we brought in and applied for a sign, we needed to make sure that we protected the brand. And really that was Fresh Creative's mantra. How do we protect the brand? So this was a 40-page piece that again existed on the website. After we decided or started in our direction on branding, we put a website together. And the website really had 2 goals. One, from an educational standpoint, constant upgrades from the CDC, as well as the application process for all businesses and organizations to apply for a sign. And it was a 4-step process, which we'll be able to show you a little later. 15,000 visits, 850,000 impressions, average time on site 2.5 minutes. Those of you that are involved in the digital world, 2.5 minutes is a phenomenal amount of time. Putting aside the application part, we saw that a lot of people went to pages from an information standpoint. So we continued to educate throughout the campaign. This is a printed piece that we handed out to a number of organizations. Basically the 4-step process that you needed to go through on the website. The basic application. Businesses needed to use their EIN number or Social Security. Step number 3 were the actual signs. There was 4 different signs that organizations could apply for. We then delivered those signs to each one of those businesses and then gave them a handout on how they would take a photograph and upload it to the media page. Once it was uploaded to the media page, the administrative team took over and submitted that with $1,000 grants from the county. Everybody can take a look at the number of signs throughout the county. Although we referenced 1,200 signs, the total amount of spend on the sign portion was $1,156,000. The remaining signs, and that's over 1,200, were a number of businesses and organizations that wanted signs without the compensation. The first major campaign after the website was a direct mail campaign. Cold Tree did the creative. Color Tech did the printing. It's about a 6x11, 4x4 printed piece with 3 wafer seals. We enclosed 1 mask in each one of those. And they went to about 55,000 households in Lebanon County. We got 2 pages of vendors here. From Lebanon County, we came up, I think, with 44 vendors, and I'm sure that we missed some on this list, but as much as the partners were advantageous and essential in making this campaign successful, the vendors were just as important. Social media. So we basically break down marketing in 2 efforts, the traditional side and the digital side. So these are a reference of our Facebook top posts. I would say for a campaign of this size, 647 followers is not a real good number. But when you look at KPIs or goals, it really wasn't that important for us to get followers. It was really more important for us to get people to engage, sign up for a sign, and be educated. On the engagement side, 30,000, almost 31,000 is a good number. And post clicks at 3,700, again, for a 3.5-month campaign, pretty decent numbers. This is the paid side. So on digital media through Google and YouTube, we talked about broadcast, we talked about videos, imagery. This was all boosting, either on the social media side or platforms where there's paid. Again, a little over 850 impressions, 850,000 impressions. 122,000 engagements. And engagements are much more important than impressions. Impressions, you all know, when you're looking at something either on your phone, or your tablet, or your desktop, you're seeing an impression. At the end of the day, you really want people to engage. That's a good number for a 3.5-month campaign. Traditional media, TV, radio, outdoor, broadcast, just some examples. I would like to mention that outside of the image that was used on the brand guidelines, all of the imagery that was used throughout this campaign were individuals in Lebanon County. So we were able to, even individuals that participate, to be able to compensate them. But we got some great imagery through this campaign, and a lot of people really embraced the campaign. The Latino reach. So what we did was we identified a couple of individuals, Guadalupe Barba, Cornell Wilson, sat down and talked with them and said, what can we do to reach this group? I think it's a group that a lot of times is overlooked on the marketing side of things. So we had pushes on the digital side, on the broadcast side, TV. The upper right-hand corner is a sidewalk sticker that Guadalupe specifically asked for businesses in the Hispanic community. So we were able to reach out to influencers and be able to execute things from an informational standpoint. This is Neon Pine. We talked earlier about animation. Children are certainly paramount in execution from a marketing side. Really, marketers really first go through parents to get to children, but we thought this campaign was so important that we actually had 2 spots created on the animation side. Hopefully everybody has got a look at this, a fantastic piece. 8-second piece and a 15-second piece, broadcast as well as digital. And a lot of hits on this, a really cool thing to put in front of the kids. Weekly giveaways. We went to the farmer's market and rented a stand. So every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we got some things to give away. Every Friday at noon, we had a different giveaway. So you're able to see bags, t-shirts, hats, other miscellaneous gifts. So I know there's a number of people that like to show up every Friday at noon to be able to get a giveaway. I won't bore you with statistics, even though I have them here. I need to put my glasses on because unfortunately I can't see anymore. Basically, you're looking at 3 spreadsheets, one on the digital side, one on the outdoor side, and one on the TV side. The TV is both broadcast and streaming. So that's a crossover in the marketing standpoint from traditional media to digital. Again, These numbers come out from mass media companies such as Lamar, WGAL, et cetera. And basically they look at, and just use outdoor as an example, they look at click counts for automobiles, they look at visibility, and then they also look at content. And they're able to forecast this. Now, a lot of people in our world, don't necessarily agree with this, because all of you, when you drive by a billboard, some of us see it, some of us don't. But I do have to say that we had a lot of visibility, a lot of placements in a number of these areas. This is my team, or our team, as I should say. I'd like to talk a little bit about every one of them because they were all involved in the campaign. Shelley and Sandra head up our creative department and manage all the creative and directed the brand standards and manage the brands. Jim was involved in all application and media uploads for the organizations that were involved. Tracy is copywriter and handled traditional media. Every project that ran through our company was managed by Scott. We use an online portal by reference by page. So we were able to track quotations, creative, invoices, and ultimately be able to submit that to the county. Pat sits over our digital media team, specifically social media. Aaron is our digital media director, so he handled everything from a website. The website was built on an open source platform so that we could utilize searchability. Eric handled every email that came through the website, which I believe was somewhere around 3,000 emails. Eric did a phenomenal job. As did Bev, our chief administrator. She worked very closely with Dawn to submit numbers through the piece, and Sally assisted Bev. So we certainly couldn't have done it, or I certainly, I'll go back to just a great team here at Fresh Creative. We appreciate the opportunity to execute this campaign. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
You were Brody once. I don't know if you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Dinny, thank you. I think you were a perfect fit for our challenge. You were big enough to handle it, but you were small enough to be light on your feet to respond in a moment's notice to whatever we requested of you and your team. And boy, you guys delivered. It was you covered the spectrum of advertising, and you did it very quickly, up and running almost overnight. So those are my quick observations, but we really appreciate your performance in this and made us all look good in distributing this as far and wide as we could in Lebanon County.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ames.
Yeah, Dinny, I feel that I need to speak out here because it's not a secret. I was really opposed to the $2.8 million expenditure for this campaign, and I still have issues with that. But my feeling from the get-go, and continued to have those conversations with Jamie and actually with you in the beginning, was that we take care of our businesses here in Lebanon County. And you were certainly agile, and I have the greatest respect for you and your organization. And my no votes on paying these bills obviously should not cast any shadows on the job that you have done. So I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I, Mr. Chairman?
Sure, Commissioner, go ahead.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you to Dinny, and I see Scott sitting at the table with you as well. I can tell you that when we received the grant, there were a lot of people who questioned the wisdom of the negotiations for the 2.8 million to go to a Mask Up campaign. But in every cloud, there is a silver lining. And in this case, we were able to spread that money and infuse it into the Lebanon County economy and give our local businesses and nonprofits a hand up instead of a handout. They had to produce something to receive payment, and that makes people feel good. It also helped to protect jobs in many of the people's businesses that you mentioned plus all of the ones that we are paying for the different campaigns. So literally, I'm going to guess between 1,500 and 2,000 businesses, nonprofits, tourism venues will have received payment in some form, either a direct grant or through the Mask Up campaign where it was a hand up, not a handout. And we needed people to lead these efforts on behalf of the county. And Jamie, Karen, and that team did a swell job on the business grants directly, but on the Mask Up campaign, you, Dinny, Scott, and the rest of your team did a superb job. And I think that in the end, we should all be grateful that we were able to tap into this local talent and put Lebanon County's best foot forward. Many of the other counties, I'm on Zoom meetings with them at least 3 times a week as a part of the task force that meets with the governor and or his staff. We are, having served as a past president of the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania, I was asked to be part of that team. And I can tell you that the other counties did not even consider marketing in their campaigns. And I was constantly bragging about the work produced here in Lebanon County and links for the, there was 2 videos that stood out. The one you pointed out was the one that was a cartoon for the children, but the other one was special needs. I think it was DVI. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's not right. Not, that would be the wrong one. Yes, thank you. And they did a video with their clients, and it was just so heartwarming, it made you smile. And those 2 especially stood out, and those links were shared statewide. So the work we did here did not go unnoticed, and it did motivate other counties to allocate some of their CARES funds to do some marketing in their communities. So I think we set the example.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Jamie, if you'd like, as this epicenter of this side of the CARES money as well, if you'd like to comment.
No, I don't think so. I think I said what I did on that. I mean, we're going to be right at the 2.8 million. I think there's last calculation, 27 or $28 left on the out of the 2.8. So I'm not sure we can get a lot closer than that. Commissioner Phillips offered to run that $28 up to Harrisburg and return it in person if necessary.
I think we can go to a local store and spend that money on a CARES related activity.
And again, to get to that end point, we filled in some PPE on this at the very end, which is certainly appropriate in a Mask Up campaign to actually acquire more masks. And again, that can go out to the first responder community through Mr. Dowd. And so, and when Bob Dowd found out it was $27, he said, I could have gotten 1 more box of masks, you know, so maybe we can do that yet.
All right, folks, job well done again, Dinny and company, Scott and Eric and the whole gang. Appreciate it very much. And you made us all look good in a difficult situation. And it turned out, as it was said, that sometimes there is a silver lining, and you were it. So thank you.
And did we make a motion to approve the current expenditures?
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
I would
Not yet.
make that motion.
Okay, I was going to get to that next.
Are you
Oh.
ready for that, Mr. Chairman?
Well, Jamie, do you want to discuss it before we do, or what's your pleasure?
Yeah, it's a bunch of different categories. I also wanted to address, James Menser was chatting some questions in the chat box there. I wanted to kind of address those maybe and wrap it all together at the same time with those
Okay.
expenditures.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So you do have in front of you 822,380.31 in current payouts, expenditures. Those are mostly the Mask Up campaign expenses that have been incurred, and also there's about $31,000 in mental health and substance abuse costs for providers, for costs that they had related to coronavirus, and also the PPE that I referred to earlier in the last of the distributions. So that 822,380.31 will need your approval today, because as you know, every dollar that's going out on this grant, I have made sure passes through this meeting so that everything is approved. I just, before you take your motion on that, I just want to clarify, James Menser in the chats was asking about how many businesses were receiving CARES grants in the prior discussion I had before Fresh Creatives, and that's 16 businesses for $243,000. He noted in there he believes it should be 450,000 and another 150 for PPE, 154 for the Y and others. That actually comes to over 750,000, and we started with 600,000, not 750. So there are, I mean, to roughly itemize them, it's $75,000 for the Expo, 50,000 for the Y, 19,000 for the Lebanon Fair. This 31,000 that's on your list for mental health is included in that. 150,000 for PPE, and then the remainder to the businesses. So I hope that helps to explain it. It all adds up to $600,000. So there's something missing from your calculation there. I think, Mr. Menser, yours goes to 750, not 600. So trust me, I went over these numbers many times, making sure that they were not going to be over or under, so that we could hit the right spot. And I can provide something to you directly if you'd like. The breakdown, I know Karen has a breakdown as well as I do, so we can show that if need be. But with that, I'd ask you to approve the 822,380.31.
Okay.
I'll give you a second now on that motion, Mr. Chairman, that Commissioner Litz made.
All right. It's been duly moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I would like to also respectfully request that a summary itemizing all the businesses that receive funding be posted to the Mask Up Lebanon and CARES websites, as you know, which I think are linked to the county. But so many people have said, when are we going to see it? It's their tax money, and I believe they have a right to see where the money was spent.
Yeah, we can do that in some form very, very easily. I anticipate we'll have right to know requests and things for that same information as well. So that might make it
We'll get
easier.
it done and post it.
Yeah, we can work with that. Maybe we post it on the county website, have a link from the Mask Up, or Mask Up can link to it. I don't know. We'll talk about that a little bit,
Okay.
Dinny, and see how we get that done once everything's paid. Yep. Karen's just chatting in here. Round 1 and round 2 recipients are posted at LebanonCountyCares.com, and the ones that were approved today will be added.
But I don't think we have the Mask Up ones posted.
Right.
This may not need to be said, and I'm sort of reluctant to add it to the discussion, but I also want to thank Fresh Creative for fronting a lot of the money that was required as we went through this before, and then they had to get reimbursed. A lot of these expenditures were pass-throughs that may look like they were getting a lion's share, but in fact they were fronting money for this effort and then being reimbursed. So I want to acknowledge that too, so there's no misunderstanding about that.
How will we get those names of those businesses included so that people know who got that money?
I'm sorry, Jamie, what were you going to say?
Yeah, we can work that out, Commissioner, that gets itemized. I was going to say that the Commissioner Ames referred to Fresh Creative being agile earlier, and that's an example. When media ads or when media is placed, they want their money on the spot to place the ad, not we'll bill you later kind of thing. And our mechanism to do that kind of fronting or that kind of advance payment is a little slower than it is for Fresh Creative. So you're absolutely right. They did a lot of outlay to keep things and get things moving. And then, we'd follow up and reimburse later. It was just a matter that was part of the speed and agility. Yeah.
Okay, anything else before we vote? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we have a 2-to-1 vote supporting the motion to pay the bills through the Mask Up campaign, the final payments, and with our thanks again. And anything else for the good for Fresh Creative? If not,
I do have one thing.
yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
I don't know. I saw that a lot of our municipalities declared emergencies, which meant they had a lot of extra road cleanup that might not be in their budget. Traditionally, and I see Bob Dowd still with us, traditionally, we would do an emergency declaration so that if money comes down from the federal and/or state governments, that our local governments could get reimbursed. Is there a need to do that today to keep that money flowing for our municipalities?
At this
You know,
point,
Pardon?
May just before we go there, wrap up with Fresh Creative and excuse them from the meeting and thank them again. I just wanted to conclude